Yeah, let's give him some bat wings. So what I did was I went ahead and measured the length of the wings from each side. So find out roughly halfway mark and then do the halfway bend. If it's off, if it's not perfect, you just snip it till it's perfect, however you want it to be. Okay, and then looking at the bat wing, you can see where it comes out to the elbow and then up to the wrist. So the finger from the wrist to the tip is actually a little bit longer than the wrist to the shoulder. So just something to keep in mind for how wings work, right? So that would mean I'd want over half of this length to be the tip end, and then I can come down to the elbow and whatever. So now it's gonna be easier, I think, to lash around this before I put it on. So I'm just gonna do that first. So I'm gonna take my floral wire, right, and bring it down to the beginning here. Now you can tie this stuff, right? So if I'm smarter, or if I can do it with my fingers, I'd actually tie a little knot with it. And when you tie the knot, you zoom in there and see, okay? You can actually tie the knot and then pull with the needle nose, and it's pretty strong, right? So that's gonna be really helpful. So now when I pull, I don't have to worry about it coming loose. I could just lash this really quickly. And this is lashing, again, makes it stronger. And if you add clay to it, it helps the clay bind to the wire, whereas without lashing it, the clay just slips off the wire pretty easily, right? Pretty fast. Okay. And again, for if you can get some beading tools from a friend or relative, you can these like the little itty bitty super cheapy ones. You can just go buy a pair. But this lets you kind of take these wires and control and bend and tie them up into knots easier than with your fingers. It's pretty crazy to try and do. That's one side. Go. And here's the other. So same thing. I'm gonna skip the knot tying thing because I could feel my fingers screaming at me right now. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just twist it around a few times. If you twist one direction, you got to kind of stay in that direction. If you twist one direction, you can't really go the opposite direction the other way. They'll undo each other. So I'll just unfurl some more of this, and then again pausing and gripping a little farther down as I go. Hope I'm not too all over the place for our awesome camera person, Angelina, keeping us all in the center here. A little faster at the end there. Come to the end. Give it a snip. Come around. And you can just twist it around. Voila. Okay. So now he has two wings, and we can attach these to the torso. And for this one, I'm just going to be lazy about it, and I'm just going to crisscross wherever I want them on the spine. And after I do that, though, I'm going to give it a nice strong pull. So I'm going to grab this end, and I'm going to also grab this end over here, and I'm going to pull tight. And that usually will give it that little oomph to tighten it up. And then even after you do that, you can go in here and you can crimp it some more like that. Now usually when you attach arms or legs or wings, you want the bulk of the attaching piece on the back of the spine, not the front of the spine. So where your sternum is, the front is usually in more, whereas the back where your scapula and the bulkier part is usually going to be where you want the bulk of your sculpture to be. But with a little skinny wire sculpture like this, it doesn't matter. Okay, so now he's ready to rock and roll. So I'm going to bring both his wings up to here. Okay, make sure I'm at the same point. Okay, one's a little bit longer than the other. If I want to get a little more precise about it, I just snip one off. Okay, and then right about there, I'm going to bring this guy in, this one in as well. Looking at my reference, that might be a bit much, so I'll bring him back out again and then go back down here to the elbow, and the elbows actually go in, right? Mm-hmm. and then that's pretty good. And now I can bring this down. Now this instability and things like that, you just got to play with the process of how you tie the wire on, of wrapping it, pinching it, and pulling. So if I were wrapping this wire around, and I'll go ahead and do a knot for this one. Okay. So once you do that, you want to grab each end, one end and the other end, and you want to pull and get that nice and tight. And that, I could feel it just gripped up pretty good after I did that. And now I can crisscross, move these wings out of the way. And even when I crisscross the wire, even when I do those parts, each one as I tug, you may want to grab your tool and pull a little bit and use the tool to do the gripping and pulling, because your fingers will they'll get worn out. And take it from me, you don't want worn out fingers. Okay, there we go. So same thing, grab my little jeweler's wires. But if that's all you got, if you don't have extra tools yet, just use your fingers. And it'll turn out just fine, I think. Okay, any excess, if you want, you can do whatever you want with it. You can twist around, you can tuck it in. For this one, I'm going around the wing, or the arm wing, right? It's not rib cage wings, it's arm wings. Cool. And yeah, we could deal with that one a little bit later. Now, if you want to bulk up any of your wire sculptures, I'll leave it to you. You know, the extra part looks nice, right? Around the ears when you do the extra lashing around and extra pieces. If I wanted to add some extra fingers,